Coming up on Gearheads. You know, we do this because we love it.
Fastlane should be making a lot more money.
I hate birthdays.
Nick has a grumpy side.
Texas miles and torturous parts. It's a whole nother ballgame. To make the world's fastest street cars, it takes skill and power. Horsepower. I'm Nick Field along with my partner Rick Ford. We take perfectly good cars and turn them into one-of-a-kind machines. And staying alive in this business is like trying to keep a bonfire burning with $100 bills. This is blood, sweat, and speed all the way. We are Gearheads. As far as techs go in Houston, that's the hardest thing to get. Some of our best people have been homegrown from a floor sweeper, like Andrew. And a guy like that, you can bring him up. It'll take 4 or 5 years, but you end up with something priceless.
Andrew's a new guy in the shop. He was just one of the guys that I was constantly having to watch.
This right here is too narrow. I'm gonna end up cutting through this.
We don't need this.
All right, well then I'll just cut right through it. Punches it, disappears.
He don't put a whole lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
A little too much on the green side. I was hoping that he would know more.
Hey, you wanna hold it? Oh. Shut up. What'd you do? Painted my hand.
You paint like shit, dude.
I think it takes a special sort of individual to paint his hand.
I had to cut Andrew back a little bit. Too many little problems going on. I don't have all the time in the world to put into him, invest in him right now.
Rick just pulled me into the office, said he was gonna trim my hours down. Instead of working 7 to 4, like the rest of the guys do, I'm gonna work 7 to noon. And I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning behind that is.
Cutting his hours back is kind of awkward to me. I like to keep things kind of upbeat, and whenever you have to do something like that, it kind of brings down the whole shop. That's why I pulled him to the side instead of just doing it at the meeting.
I'd kind of like to hope that maybe it's just so simple as there isn't a lot for me to do right now, but I'm really not sure.
He has plenty of talent. I think he'll turn out good. Like I said, I just don't have enough time to put into him right now.
Fastlane isn't just cars. We've got other businesses that we're running out of the same property. So we've got our hydrographics business, you know, so we do coatings there.
Flamed out cold air intake pipe.
On top of that, we also have a machine shop that runs oil field and energy related parts. We hired old man Dan based on trying to find a bookkeeper and someone to help manage the money.
So I'm constantly adding new vendors to the list and trying to have some sort of semblance of order.
Next business owner himself, who probably retired with a fortune, and you know, we like having that old school influence around. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's a hassle.
Okay, wake up.
Dan and I have the classic struggle.
Nick tries to do too much. He feels like he needs to pick up the slack for Rick because all Rick wants to do is turn a bolt or make a bolt or fix something and work out in the shop. Now, he doesn't want to be bothered with the rest of this stuff. Has cut us off because they're a weekly account and we haven't paid them weekly. I can't pay him weekly because I don't get the invoices on time.
So he expects me to handle the invoicing and the paperwork, and I just don't have time to do it.
The date on this is 8/19. I haven't even gotten this yet. It's almost 10/19, 2 months later.
There's a few more of them in there too.
If you can't get your job done as a manager in 8 hours a day, you're not a good manager.
What do you want me to do? You want me to collect money, sell jobs, tune cars, do accounting?
No, I want you to give me the invoices when they come in. That's all. Post them to the accounts and give me the invoice. Simple as that.
It's just always a struggle between me and him, but he's not perfect either.
This one is to You initialed it. It's not stamped as being received, but I assume that your initials mean that you saw it. Did you post it? Yeah, well, I don't know that.
That's why I signed it.
Oh,
I don't
see.
have one of those fancy
Oh, okay.
stamps.
You don't have a stamp?
No.
Would you like a stamp?
No.
I didn't figure you would.
He and I fight on a regular basis. You know, he's abrasive, and I don't have time to deal with it.
I'm supposed to be managing all this money, and I have absolutely no control over this stuff. I have no control over this checkbook. I have no control over what you change from one bank account to another. He'll spend 30 minutes talking to an $8 an hour mechanic out there about how to do this on this wheel, but won't spend 30 seconds in this building talking about how do we make money.
I'm trying to sell jobs for 3 companies, and I'm trying to collect money for 3 companies. So, you know, if that means that you just need to be here more often, then you need to be here more often.
Oh, right. Well, we want to pay me more. I'll be here more often.
Yeah, it always comes back to money, right?
Where else is it gonna go?
They'll tell you, well, I'm overworked and underpaid, and these guys take advantage of a poor retired guy. I've got to get all that.
Okay. Fastlane should be making a lot more money than what it's making now. See you in a bit.
Now, in the car business, it just doesn't work that way. The margins aren't there. You know, we do this because we love it. He can't understand that either.
I need to have the authority to move forward as I see fit.
Sometimes I wish I had a nice, agreeable, good-looking chick that could just, you know, smile and nod. And he is not that person.
Coming up on Gearheads,
Happy birthday, you son of a bitch.
we went to the steakhouse for my birthday.
He hates getting older.
I might be hungover, but I'm here to work.
Nick's mom went and got pizza, and he was being a little grumpy about it.
Like I said, let's not make a big deal out of this. Let's just let them eat and go, please.
Okay, Nick has a grumpy side.
We went to the steakhouse for my birthday.
We started going there about 16 years ago. Everybody there is friendly. It's like a neighborhood bar.
Rick and a few of my closest friends, we went to hang out and celebrate. So we had a couple bottles of wine, a few cocktails, maybe a couple shots. We probably partied a little bit more than we should have, considering that the next morning is a big work day and it's going to be my birthday. So we kind of set ourselves up for failure.
Another 40.
I like the
Well, we had to think about how we were going to try and do lunch, how we were going to try and do some decorations and really fix up his office so he'd get a little bit of a shock and hopefully a nice surprise. All right, I think that's going to be enough to start his day with a smile.
I don't like to celebrate my birthday. I never have since I was a kid. So when everyone ignores that fact and decides that they're going to, you know, do it all up anyway, I get pissy.
Happy birthday, Bob. How you feeling today? Oh, I feel like shit. Great. I should have got up on time.
So we were hoping to overwhelm you.
Yeah, well, I'm hungover and overwhelmed.
My office is you know, command central. That's my spot, and everyone knows not to mess with it.
I'm done. Okay, I'm going to work. Thank you.
All right, give me a hug.
No, I can't. Go back to work. You get a hug later.
He's just hard to deal with on a birthday. He hates getting older.
I might be hungover for my birthday, but I'm here to work.
Happy birthday, you son of a bitch.
Nick's mom went and got pizza, and he was being a little grumpy about it.
Like I said, let's not make a big deal out of this. Let's just let them eat and go, please.
Okay.
The one concession that I make to working 100 hours a week is that I at least try to eat decent. My mom knows that too. I don't eat pizza, so I don't know why she would order it. I mean, they could have ordered freaking Chinese, or and I would have probably been okay with it. But the one thing I don't eat is pizza.
That's Parmesan cheese and some red peppers. Which kind you want to start with? Cheese, pepperoni. Nick has a grumpy side. And when Nick has a grumpy side, he just needs some space.
Getting older just means he's one step closer to dying, and he doesn't like that.
I got bad guts. I got heartburn. That's what cars do to you.
Where is the birthday boy at?
He's absent.
She probably did it as a team building thing because that's what she does. She wants to teach everybody.
And you couldn't just go along with it for 30 minutes?
No, absolutely not. I couldn't because she knows better.
Go over and say hi to the guys real quick for us, just for a second. Thank you. You done?
I'm really done.
Okay.
Really done.
I hate birthdays.
He's going to be grouchy all day until he gets some alcohol in him.
So it's my birthday. I'm upset. They've ruined my office. And then Carrie gets hurt.
Carrie was working underneath the Firebird, and the rear end came loose, wrapped around the lower trailing arms, and hit him in the head on its way down.
You all right? You go to the hospital, emergency room.
He just cut his head open.
I freaked out, okay? I saw that blood coming down his head, and all I was thinking about was, okay, who's the best person to get him to the emergency room? Just me. He wouldn't pull his hand off the wound, and I couldn't see it, so I just, had to assume that it was bad.
Knock on wood, not a whole lot of injuries happened. That was one of the first ones in quite a few years. Mm-hmm. Usually it's me that gets messed up.
It didn't end up being a big deal. They were worried about a concussion, but it was a few staples. We're cutting, welding, there's cars up on lifts. If it can happen to Carrie, it can happen to anyone. Coming up on Gearheads.
We were supposed to take it to the Texas Mile 2 days away.
You're struggling for a car to take in its place, then Jimmy popped up.
It had an overheating issue.
Jimmy agreed that if we could get the car done in time, that we were going to take it to the mile.
Pretty nasty.
So if the day wasn't going bad enough, I had a customer, Paul. Hi, Paul. Calls me up. He wrecked his car at the end of my street. Paul's a really good customer. Owns a GT 500.
One of the most powerful, if not the most powerful, Shelbys or Mustangs around. 1,100 horsepower at the tires, street car, and it might have got away from him, but he's not saying.
I shipped it down to second, and gave it some gas, and it just took off, man.
We were supposed to take it to the Texas Mile, which was just 2 days away.
We had our plan scheduled to get this car ready to go back into race trim. He balls it up. We were struggling for a car to take in its place, and then Jimmy popped up. Jimmy owns the 2011 Camaro. It was a project car for RPM magazine. It's been a 2-year, $200,000 plus build, and there have been a lot of hands on that car.
It had an overheating issue.
It won't even go 5 miles without overheating on a 100-degree day.
We started looking at it, and there was some stuff that jumped out immediately that should be done.
We need to get a turbo blanket and wrap the exhaust out of that housing right there because we're getting a bunch of radiating heat onto the tank of that radiator. That's cheap and easy.
Okay.
The second thing is we need to go ahead and get some strip foam and isolate the condenser to the radiator so all the airflow has to come through the radiator.
And Jimmy agreed that if we could get the car done in time, that we were going to take it to the mile.
I had Andrew go out there and help Dan strap down the Camaro.
Strapping it down is very important. If this vehicle launches off the dyno during the pull, I mean, it's done for. It's not only at 100 plus mile an hour, but you could damage the whole car.
He's been strapping cars down. He's doing a whole lot better. Really don't mind the kid, actually.
Dan needs a little push out there.
You bring in a car like Jimmy's that's 1,100 horsepower, he's all about it.
You know, I want my name on the car when it goes fast.
He's on point, especially whenever you're getting ready to go racing.
Yeah. Every tuner's got an ego of some sort, even if they say they don't. It's just, it's how the world works.
A lot of these guys would like to tune, but you know, it takes a lot of gumption to get through to the point where either one of us is going to let you tune.
Made 1,060 and 1,040 foot-pounds, so it's pretty nasty.
Got the cooling issue fixed with the Camaro. Drove the car, it seemed to be fine, so we're getting ready for the mile. I look forward to loading up and getting ready to go to a race. It's kind of like the step before I'm out the door. Jimmy's car, it's set up for top speed, so it's super low. It requires a little extra attention, getting it off the lift, getting it into the trailer, and getting it loaded up and ready to go.
Coming up on Gearheads.
Texas Mile is a top speed race. In torturous parts, it's a mile instead of a quarter mile. It's a whole nother ball game.
Kind of got a little butterfly.
The heat's on now. We just want to go faster now. The mile usually has several hundred cars. It's pretty much packed every time, so they have a waiting list. So they pretty much take on as many cars as they can handle.
You get out to the Texas Mile, find a nice little nice place to pit, set up your camp, set up the trailer,
set up the barbecue pit, ice down the beer,
unload the trailer, do your last minute adjust. Go back to town because Alex forgot the bottle of Crown.
Yeah. Texas Mile is a top speed race, standing mile. It's different from the drag strip because it tortures parts. It's a mile instead of a quarter mile. It's a whole nother ball game. I'm not doing the stuff that I really want to do as far as the racing and the car stuff goes. So, you know, I do feel a little bit of pressure to try to push forward with that. I mean, we just want to go faster. You know, so I've only got so many years of that in me. So, you know, the heat's on now. There's 6 rows and they run them in order.
And usually it takes about a half hour to an hour per row.
You've been waiting in line for what, 4 hours now, ish? It'll wear on your nerves for sure.
Kind of got a little butterfly. It's like seeing a baby getting born.
Jimmy's car was just way overpowered. So when we got out there, the first run, it was just insane. spinning the tires in fourth gear at probably 140, 150 miles an hour. So that makes for a pretty hairy ride, and we just had to shut it down. Well, Jimmy's been through the ringer.
What was that noise?
Boost control. He was kind of like a, nervous pappy, his first kid.
Well, it made it down the track. Wasn't exactly what we were looking for, but.
So we had to pull some boost out of the car and change the boost controller setup so that the car could actually lay down the power that we were putting to it. We played with tire pressure, moving weight around in the car.
We're changing the wastegate and springs on it right now to hopefully give it a little evener boost, if that's a word.
Basically, it was all about going back to ground zero, pulling all the power out of it, and then putting it back in it as you can. When we got the car kind of halfway straightened out, we ran it through, and I was still learning the car because I'd never driven that car before. But we got the boost and the traction to where it was somewhat manageable, and I knew that it was going to make a decent run. Got into fifth and went 196, and that was a good start. Jimmy's whole intention with this thing was to basically get the car out there, make a decent run, and hopefully have a car that's sellable and marketable. The following day, we got some weight in the back of the car and got more boost into the car, and it finally broke 200 and made a 202 mile an hour pass. The week of the mile was tough, but overall, getting Jimmy's car out there, seeing his smile and going 200, it was a big win for Fastlane.
Happy birthday.